When you woke up Wednesday morning, show of hands, you saw that Carlos Correa was going to the Mets, and you're like, that's not right. That can't be. This is a mistake. Jack, it wasn't a mistake. There was a huge turn of events between Tuesday and Wednesday.
I thought it was another fake tweet or an incorrect tweet. I really did, because you were hearing that he was having a press conference with the Giants, and then the press conference was postponed. And Scott Boras, who is Correa's agent, is obviously also Rodon's agent, so he was at the Rodon press conference today. And he said that it is extremely rare to get to that point where you have a letter of agreement and the team has scheduled a press conference, and then suddenly the team needs more time. So to Boras's credit, as an agent, he has to look out for his client. He pivots. He gets more teams involved. And Steve Cohen has showed a propensity, unlike any owner this offseason, to spend and spend and spend some more, Michael. And just like that, a $350 million contract with the Giants is replaced by a $312 million contract with the Mets.
What a great parachute to have. You know, Uncle Steve, just call Uncle Steve and he'll take care of things. And you lose $350 because of a medical issue, you figure you're going to have to scrape to get anywhere close to it. But, you know, one fewer year and a little bit less money. And he signed with the Mets and moves over to third base. Has a lot of the A-Rod to the Yankee feel. You know, I've been reading a lot about the Giants offseason, and there's a columnist, Grant Brisbee, who writes for The Athletic, and he said that the Giants had the worst offseason in the history of the franchise. The only thing close was when they traded Gaylord Perry for Sam McDowell, who was shot at the time. That was in the early 70s. But everything they tried to do, everything, it just fell by the wayside. They set their sights on Judge. That's gone. They wanted to bring back Rodon. That's gone. Then they pivot and go, okay, we'll have Correa. That's gone. And it's almost like they're settling now and go, hey, the Pirates and the Padres and the Dodgers are really good. I guess we'll just be bad. Because, I mean, they wanted to get a face of the franchise. Instead, they have egg on their face.
Well, in the meantime, let's talk about some of these deals that the Mets have in place. Long-term deal still with Lindor, now with Correa. The shorter-term deals with Verlander and with Max Scherzer. So they're built for now, but then you look at those long-term deals, and with Nimmo, too, kind of built for the future as well.
Right. You look at what Cohen has brought to that franchise, and I don't think there was any surprise, Bob, that he was going to spend a lot of money. But what he has done in this offseason has rocked the baseball world. I mean, over $800 million invested in his team. He has talked about being a fan. He has a fortune. Forbes says that he's worth $17.5 billion. And Yankee personnel addressed this at the press conferences the last 2 days and how that has all changed. I've had a conversation with Buck Showalter in this offseason, and Buck, of course, no matter how much money has ever been spent or how much talent has been acquired, he's always going to try and act like the underdog. But he's pretty thrilled about the possibility, or not the possibility, Michael, about the inevitability of being able to manage such a deep team.
Even Buck can't pull off the underdog card this time. Not when your total outlay is going to be at $495 million. Listen, I don't blame the guy, because he came in and he said, I want to win a World Series within 5 years. He took over a barren farm system. There was no ready-made talent. So you either go big into the free agent market or you sit there and wait. And this is a guy in his 60s, doesn't want to sit there and wait. Took a long time for him to buy this team. He wants to spend what he wants to spend. And this is really nothing to him. It's like ashtray money. I'm sure other owners are freaking out about it. I mean, there is a big gap between the haves and the have-nots. And, you know, fortunately for Yankee fans, they're part of the haves as well. But if you're the Pirates and, you know, you're teams like the Oakland A's, you have to say, well, how can I compete? I'm going to have to compete with the scraps. Now, it can be done. But this guy, I don't think he's done. And the fact that he signed Correa, he actually needed to. Like the Yankees needed to sign Rodon, because if they brought back Judge, how different were they than last year? Well, now their pitching's a lot better. Well, if you bring back Nimmo and you bring back you sign Verlander to take over for DeGrom, you're not much different than the team that won 101 games and finished in second place. They needed some offense. So now they got offense, and they could trade a Brett Beatty. They could trade an Escobar, and they could restock their farm system as well, because he's always said he wants sustainability. Well, you have to build up the farm system to have sustainability. That's what the Dodgers have done.
And you look at the left side of that Met infield now with Lindor and Correa. You're talking about two electrifying players. And interestingly, Boras said said today that Correa had let other teams know that if they saw him moving to third base at some point, that was something he was interested in doing. Boras said Carlos loves offense, and if you play third base, there's less wear and tear on your body than there is at shortstop. And I found this kind of humorous, and Boras explained it to a group of reporters at Yankee Stadium. I guess Correa really wanted a landing in New York after the San Francisco thing fell through, because when Boras delivered the news to him, they were in a hotel suite. Correa tackled Boras onto a bed, and of course Boras said, well, I think everything would be okay with his physical. He felt like he was a linebacker sending me flying into that bed.
Well, the one thing that we know about Correa, he does a great imitation of my home run call. So now he's got to work on Gary Cohen's, because, you know, you can't, it's got to be, it's out of here. He's got to do that rather than see you, but he's a good mimic.